I love this spot just to start here, just letting some good breaths flow. Super relaxing, and this starts to build some trust. Trust that the hammock will hold us, it'll support us. That feeling of trust that we can put our weight into something that's not us. Sometimes in life that idea of trust is really hard because it makes it seem like we have to hold everything up by ourselves. So as we go through our class today, we'll be trying all sorts of fun things, things that open our body, things that stretch, things that just feel good. But overall, let's try to embody this idea of trust. Just realizing the fabric will hold me. I can lean my weight into something else and be supported. So just let these easy breaths flow. One more really good deep cycle in and out to get us started. So from here, I like to take some nice initial moves with the body just to help the body get some good stretches through the major muscle groups. So the first thing I want us to do is just start to hug the right knee into the chest. As that knee comes in, give it a good hug in. So we're feeling the stretch in the front of the hip flexor. Maybe sometimes I'll do some little circles with the toes to loosen up some ankle tightness. So maybe that feels nice. Good. When you're ready to move on to the hamstring, begin to let this right leg extend up to the sky. The hands can slide up the back side of the leg. Leg is pulled into that nice stretch for the whole back side of it. Just give that spot a couple of really good deep breaths. And we're going to inhale. Exhale. And we're going to head to a hip opener. So continue to pull this right leg toward you until the foot is past the ends of the fabric that are by the head. Once it's past the ends, bend the knee. So this will start to slide and hook the right ankle to the back left side. Let's think of like pigeon pose. Yep, hook that ankle. The knee is swiveled out to the side. So just hook your arm around the shin to pull that shin in as much as it feels good for the hip and the knee. And just give that hip just a couple of good breaths. This is one of those notoriously tight spots, so we like to give it a couple of good rounds. One more inhale. Exhale. We'll start to free out this leg. Sometimes I like to give myself a bonus hamstring stretch. So like back up to the sky, nice and long. And let's start to drop it all the way down. Then we can focus on the left side. Start to pull that left knee into the chest. Give it a good hug. Big breaths flowing in and out. Doing those ankle rolls, maybe one more to each side. When you feel ready, start to move up to the hamstrings. The leg starts to go up to the sky. Grab onto the back side of the leg, help to pull it in and up. Good, so take one more deep inhale. Exhale. Then we're taking that hip opener, so cross this foot all the way to the back right end of the fabric. Swivel the knee out to the side, slide the shin in. Hip open. Inhale. Exhale. Start to free this leg clear up to the sky and drop it down. So kick the feet free off the front. Grab on with the hands to start sitting up. And as you're sitting up, let's take the fabric just to wherever it falls down our back. We're not needing to push it down right at this moment. So it's kind of going to be in the waist area. Bring the hands onto the back end. Start to lean over backwards, just kind of sliding the hands down. And then find enough of a back bend. So enough that the toes are dangling to one direction, the head is dangling to the other. Feel that heart open. Maybe you've taken a really hunched over position today. The majority of the day. This is the chance just to let the big stretch. Don't feel like you have to stay super long. Give you another breath or two. You just tuck the chin in and roll up. When you're ready to be out, you'll hook your elbows and just let the head come forward. And the head just to release some tension on the back of the neck. Even sometimes rocking the head left and right when we make it big here. You'll notice inversions, we go to a nice restorative place like this afterwards. And just make sure that we don't get that dizziness, that head rush when we pop up too quickly. So this is the restorative pose we take when we're inside the hammock. And here we're going to go to another inversion. This one's more of a full one that'll let our whole spine just get to drop and hang heavy. So in this one, similar to what we just did, except I do tend to find that when I do push the fabric to about where the back side of my hips are, so not sitting on it, but it kind of my front line behind, when I push it to that spot, it tends to be much more comfortable. So leaning back to lock it in place, and then my legs need to go wide to make sure I don't fall out. Then wrap the ankles. Once you're in this spot, you're welcome to just let the whole spine just relax. A lot of people come to aerial yoga for the inversions, so don't feel like you're in any sense of rush to come out. You always can readjust if it's, not quite in the right spot on your back, or things you just want to readjust a little bit or whatever. You can always come back out and back in. But I like to give myself, as long as it feels good in my head, I like to give myself some time just to relax. So feel free to just breathe. Out when you feel ready, but no rush. Take another full minute or two if you'd like. So little method to the madness here is we're giving the head enough time to kind of let the blood pressure come back to normal. It was completely flipped from our normal before, so just giving it time for things to come back to normal. Sometimes there's that like ear fullness that can start to happen, so this also can help to get that back to normal. Giving ourselves enough time. So don't ever feel like I'm rushing you out of the restorative pose. And sometimes people will start to get dizzy, and you just need to come out and lay on the ground for a little while just to feel that groundedness. That's always going to be fine. But if we're feeling good, let's take a little twist to each side. So starting to sit up nice and tall. Let's bunch up the fabric that's toward the front door side. You'll notice how one of your shoulders is opening up to the mountain wall. So that arm, continue to open up that arm to point to the mountains, or even circle that hand around the back side. So nice spinal twist. Those muscles of the back have a good chance to open. Inhale. Exhale. Start to release. Take it over to the other side. Same thing. So the shoulder that opens up to the mountains. That arm is the one that swings open or circles around the back. Another huge breath, flow in, out, and then grip onto the side of the fabric that points you to me, so you can kind of gaze at me as we're doing these next couple of things. So once you've got that side bunched up, lock the arm straight. This lifts up your hip a little bit, so swing that side leg up and over. We'll do just a couple of easy little stretches here from this straddling position. So first and foremost, once we're here, bunch up the fabric that's in front of you again. Almost like a cat-cow type motion. When you push the arm straight, go round the spine back. That's the exhale. Inhale, pull the heart in, pull the hands into the heart. The heart goes forward, arch the head a little bit. Just gently in. Let's take about 5 or so of those. Exhale back. Pull heart forward enough. 4. You want to add some strength with the exhale. Your leg lift also. 3. 2. 1. Beautiful. Back to stillness in the center. Take the fabric that's under your thighs. Bump your heel up to that spot and then straighten your leg out. So both legs, once we're there, can open up to a really wide straddle position. This one's a really good spot to note if you're in the center of the fabric or if you end up too far to one side, too far to the other side. It's just a good thing to note because when we're at the beginning of getting inside, grabbing our fistfuls of fabric, trying to get our hands to the center, this is the spot where you know if you actually ended up in the center or not. So next time you'll know, okay, so I need to grab a little bit more fabric to get me to the back, or I need a little bit less fabric to get me more forward. So kind of note, today it doesn't matter too much though, so it's just kind of a learning thing. So let's grab the hands onto the outer parts of the fabric, and then the arm strength helps to press the legs even wider. But use core engagement to sit up tall. Let's slide our right hand down the right leg, left hand up and over. And try not to let the left leg be lazy. I could just kind of want to fall in because that's a little bit easier. Try to keep that leg engagement to keep the leg spreading out wide. One more breath on this side. Rising up, we'll switch directions. So left hand on left leg, right arm up and over. The right leg active, trying to go wide. Good. So rising up. This one is one of my favorite meditative seats. All you have to do is just bring the bottoms of both feet together. You could rest the forehead backward or rest the forehead, the back of the head backward or rest the forehead forward. It's just a nice place to relax for a little while. Let a couple of really good deep breaths flow. This is one of those moments where we can really connect back to that idea of trust that we started with. It feels very much like we're surrounded, like a butterfly in its cocoon. It's a kind of a vulnerable position, but yet also at the same time, we've got this hug going on. It's like we're embraced. So it's that good opportunity to imagine we're about to leave, coming out as a butterfly rather than just a caterpillar. So imagine this is that transformation journey, and we trust in the process even if we don't always understand. Letting this breath go deep and full, let's take about 3 more seconds. Give the legs a chance to stretch back out wide. Hands can help again, pushing out. Good. Huge inhale. Exhale. And start to let each foot fall off the ends of the fabric. We're dangling back the knee. Good. So we're going into some hip and hamstring openers. So this fabric that's in front of us, let's bunch it back up. And we're going to take the knee that's closer to the mirror side. Take that ankle, grab the ankle and slide the ankle to the fabric that's in front of us. So it's that bent knee position again. It's getting us into the hip stretch. Good. So if you're in the hip stretch, just relax. That's all you have to do. If you're like, okay, I'm here, but I don't really feel it, you can either start to slide the toes up a bit higher or just hug around the shin and just lean the heart closer and closer to that. Some good space. Let's move on to the hamstrings. So bunch the fabric up. Place the arch of this foot up onto that gathered fabric. So I like to keep the toes turned out. That tends to be more comfortable for the knee. And then once you've got it there, slide the foot up as high as it can go comfortably. It doesn't have to go all the way straight if you've got a really tight hamstring. Note that if you lock your arm straight with the fabric, that'll give your hamstring more space. If you're here comfortably and you want more, then you'll start to back the arm straight away little by little, and then I'll start to pull the leg more tightly. So you have control over how intense it is. Let's take some good deep breaths. One more inhale. Exhale. Let's bump this leg down. Go to the second side. So ankle, shin area is up. Your hip needs more. Hug in. Hip needs less. Lock the arm straight or even lean back. Good. Let's move on to the hamstring. So arch of the foot up. And start to slide the leg as high as it wants to go. More good inhale. Exhale. This foot, when it comes down, point it to that mirror side. So that'll get your knees together. You'll be off center with the hips, so just shift left, right, left, right, left, right until you're facing back forward. Good. Let's go to our next inversion. This one's a lot of people's favorite inversion because the fabric gives you a little massage right on your shoulder area, so it feels really nice. So this one's called Vampire. Since we're all pretty new, go ahead and watch first, and then I'll go into it again with you. So the idea is one thin layer of fabric over the shoulders. And I don't want too much extra, otherwise it pushes my neck into the pose and it doesn't feel that great. So just one good thin layer. My elbows are here to catch the excess and push it down to my waist. So then when I lay back, I've got a ton at my waist. So the way to take the stuff from my waist down to my feet is I need to step my feet in, lift hips up, and then by straightening the legs, that shifts it down. Sometimes it even takes 2 or 3. So do it again and again until you've got all that excess down. Okay. So I've still got a sitting player on my shoulders. So hands go up, reach the fabric, gathering up a little bit left and right. The feet come up. I bring it all the way to the spot right at the end where my hands gathered up. If you go too far this way, you'll kind of slip your feet out. So all the way where you gathered it up to the end. And I turn my toes outward to lock it into place. And then I can engage my core by pushing out. So with that core engagement, I can start to rise all the way upside down. That's where the vampire is. So this one, like I said, it's a really good massage for shoulders. Okay, so let's take it step by step. So find the fabric behind you. Take a full cap sleeve-like covering over your shoulders. Then once you got it, the elbows grab all the excess, like a chicken wing, and then pushes that excess to the waist. So I still kind of use my fingertips to keep just enough on my shoulders. Good. Then you'll start to head backwards, like that. So you should have a bunch of excess at the waist. So then step your heels in, lift your hips up to straighten the legs. If you need to do that a couple times, that's fine. Good. And then hands grip up, gather a little bit of the fabric left to right. Feet hike up. Good, so it's not a heel hook to the outside. It's the inner part of, it's this little notch after the heel ends. That's what we're pushing out into, and we're turning the toes out. So then from that push, we're able to rise all the way. Good. Yeah, you got it. You can rise even higher if you feel comfortable. Yes, see that last moment where the head just releases? That's what we're going. Come on. Back down. Shoulders, I would have to go. You want to what we're going for instead is this. See how the shoulders down? Yep. Yeah. You guys are doing awesome. So this is a nice beginner's class. Eventually there's all sorts of poses we can build onto from this basic spot. But today, this is where we'll be for this inversion for now. So like I mentioned, it can feel really good on those shoulders. So just enjoy some good deep breaths as long as it still feels good. There's no rush to go out, especially if you're loving how this feels. So only come out when you feel ready. Don't feel any sort of rush to get there. Just that goal to listen to our bodies, really. Start to head out. You're welcome to pop the head in back into the Shavasana shape. You guys did awesome. So feel free to relax for a little while. Yeah. Get this little mini Shavasana. This is our restorative pose for this one. So similar to before, this restorative pose is for everything in your body to tell you that you've got check marks all across the board, everything's feeling good. So don't feel like you're in a rush to get up. But when you start to feel good, the way that you'll let me know is by coming back up to sit. So eventually your feet will start to kick free. Your hands can help you rise up. But again, don't feel rushed because that helps me know where you're at in this recovery. So note, we usually don't just like let our arms go forward and try to find the ground from here. Since the toes can't touch the ground, there's a slight chance of face diving going out that way. So the way we exit is grabbing a handful of fabric onto each side and then just lifting the hips up and out. There's no chance of face diving. Good. Okay. So what I want us to do from here, take the fabric under your shoulder blades. And then you're going to walk back to take all the slack out. And what we're going to do is just take our feet under the plumb line. So that's, for most of you guys, that's about where the shadow line is. It's not too far forward, not too far back. Kind of a wider stance will help us out where we're going here. So keep it, I'd say right there. That's, yeah. Okay. And what we're going to do, this is kind of fun. This reminds me of being on the playground again. So what we're gonna do is we'll all pick one direction. Let's circle to the front door and around. And the idea is you go all the way, like a huge hula hoop with the hips. So to do that, your knees just need to be nice and soft, just so you can go forward and around. Good. Feel free to take 3, 4, maybe even 5 circles to this direction. If you want to go slower, that's fine. Slower includes a little bit of that core strength. Good, and just feel how loose it is for the hips. Good. After the next one, let's pause at the back, and then we'll start to change the direction. So take a few circles to the other side as well. Good, I love that syncing of the breath with your movement. Exhales and inhales. Good. The next time you're back, let's pause. Let's take the arms to clasp up above head, and then just flip palms up, lean back a little bit. If you need to arch even more, walk the feet forward so you can arch even more. Good, and then up, chin to chest. Change the grip, hands clasping behind the back. See if you can pull your hands a little bit away from the boots. Sometimes that's a tight one for people, so don't feel any pressure. Good. And releasing the hands. So make sure it's still comfortable under the shoulder blades. And then this time it's going to be our hips that are under the plumb line. So just like a chair, let your knees bend like a 90-degree angle. Just relax the hips down. Good. Let's tilt to the feet nice and wide. Hands can come to the knees. So press the knees open. Let's shift over toward the front door. Nice straight leg. Feel the inner thigh stretching a little bit. Good. And shift over to the back door. Beautiful. Back to the center. Grab up high. Tilt on the feet. Maybe just about as wide as your mat, up at the top. And then the legs can slide out straight. So the hands, what we're going to do is grip, slide the elbows forward, and then kind of pick yourself up. Just slowly lower glutes down to the ground. Good. So we're in a nice kind of wide angle stance with our legs. Our hands slide forward. Kind of clasp, and the goal is to try to straighten the spine as we lean directly straight into the ground. So that nice hamstring opener. Good breaths in and out. Rising upright, separate a little bit, having a bit of a clasp on each side. Both knees will swivel underneath us. We're kneeling now. And this one's kind of like a camel pose. If you want to, you could just lean straight back. That would be more of a passive way of doing this, stretching through the quads. You could also lift the hips up, rocking the head back. Huge quad stretch. So your choice, the intensity here. Either way, getting those quads. After the next exhale, feel free to drop the glutes back down. Scoot back just a little bit. Come up to a nice high kneeling spot. And then change the grip, so it's prayer position, hands dive into the center. And then just let yourself start to ease your hips forward into puppy pose. So ultimately, the spine is kind of in a U shape. If this is a little intense on your shoulders, you can grab instead and let the elbows be bent. So be a little bit more gentle on the shoulders. Stay as long as it feels nice. Whenever you're ready to take child pose, sit the hips back, drop the hands to the floor, and just take a couple of breaths. Good. Rising back up. Grab onto the fabric, and we'll get our feet back in front of us. If you'd like to do a little bit of arm strengthening, you're welcome to add some little pull-ups here until you're ready to come all the way up to stand. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay, so then this one's another inversion. This one kind of looks like downward facing dog at first. So fabric across the hips. And then if there's any slack left, feel free to walk forward until you've taken all the slack out. And then bend at the waist, dropping the thumbs and the hands down. And then you'll take several steps back so that hips are under that So this one, like we had the massage on our neck before, this one is a massage across the hips. So if that's intense, just stay in the down dog, keep on lifting the hips high, so very little weight inside the fabric. If that massage feels good, some people even come to the point where they crave it. If it feels good, you could go for a hip thing. So the toes start to lift, and maybe the hands even wrap around the shins. Don't ever feel pressured to go further than you want to. Little moments of trust when it's like, oh, how did that feel? Good. And if you're still doing okay, we can aim for a twist. So back to the down dog shape. Place the left hand in front of your face, and then right hand grabs to either strand. The closer strand is an easier twist. The farther strand is a little bit deeper. So you choose what feels good for your back. Try to keep the spine long, and then wind around that long spine. Let's switch sides, right hand down, left hand grabbing either strand. Inhale, exhale, hands down. We come out by taking the feet all the way forward until they're flat. Our weight goes over our legs. And we do a slow roll of the head up. Once you're up, right away, take the fabric behind you and just lean into it. This is the restorative pose we do after the hip one. So just leaning back. I like to take my hands to support the weight of my head so that neck can have a good rest. I'll give you a little trick. One of my favorite things to do here is I bend my right knee. I'll start to lean my right elbow to that right knee. Gives me a really good left side leg stretch. Straighten through that side, take it to the other. So bending left knee, lean to the left. When that massage is really intense across the psoas area, this is one of those things that will help to loosen that. Good. So this is another one of those spots we were talking about where I'm just kind of like making sure everybody's head, the blood pressure adjustment, all of that is doing good. So don't ever feel rushed out of your resting pose after an inversion. But if you're feeling okay, the way that you plan on this one, let me know. Just come back to stand until you're up, standing on your own 2 feet again. So once you're up, take the fabric out in front of you. Let's walk up to it. Grab a little bit wider than shoulders. Just take a nice 90-degree bend of the waist. You could have stillness, just holding your pose nice. You could have movement like a cat-cow, or a little bit of swaying left and right, whatever feels good for your back. And let's bend the knees and roll our spine up. Good. Just nice leg stretches. So take your right thigh inside the fabric. So that massage that we've been playing with today, this is one that will give your hamstrings a massage. So you'll kind of note as you start to bring your weight forward, it could feel nice or it could feel intense. So I only mention it because if it's really intense for you today, the way you can lessen the intensity is just kind of start to spread out the surface area. That'll make it much easier to handle. Some days, again, I get to the point where I really crave it. I'm like, I really need to get that massage today. You'll kind of figure out what works for your heels and for your your foot, make sure everything's comfortable. Good. So take your weight back. We're going to shift to warrior two. So this should face you toward the back door. So both hands to your left side, your left toes to the left, and then start to sink your weight into the fabric. So it's like that warrior two position with the hips open to the side. So you can keep hands here if this is comfortable. You could let your right arm reach forward, pressing the tricep into the fabric. Look at something steady to kind of push off of. That feels good, great. If you want the back hand to be back also, that's great, like a full warrior two. Good, I saw that adjustment. Instead of leaning forward, it's trying to stack spine up. Good. Beautiful, and similar to before, the way we come out is just squeezing our thighs together. That'll take our weight back. So still facing to the side, let's flip the fabric down to the ankle. Still gripping onto this left strand. Slide the right hand down, left hand up. This opens up that side body. You can stay here, or you can sink your weight forward. Really good stretch for inner thighs, almost like a side split. Good. Let's bring our weight back. Grab one hand on each side, turn your standing toes to point forward again. And this one will stretch more like a forward split. If the forward split is pretty intense and balance is not that great, an option you have instead is just slide the hands down. That feels really deep on hamstring because it's bringing the heart all the way down. So if you want that, that's great. If you want to slide hands up, that would be the split. Sink as much weight forward as you wish. Remember, you can't get stuck. You just have to squeeze in our thighs together, and that'll take you back. And let's start to take all those stretches on the second side. So you've got two ways to switch. You could just step this leg out, step the other thigh in, or there's a swinging switch. So gripping up nice and high. The big thing is you have to lock the leg of the fabric straight. If you bend it, it's going to turn into a swing. So locking the leg straight, you just step the second foot in, the first foot out. Yeah, victory! Go ahead and slip it onto the thigh. Okay, sometimes when I do the swing, I end up a little bit too far behind plumb line, so feel free to hop forward. Let's take that first stretch like a warrior one, go directly forward. Let's take the weight over standing leg, grip to the right side, and the standing toes to the right. And warrior two, start to sink your weight forward. Maybe the top arm goes forward, spine is still stacked up. Maybe the back arm goes back. This is what our warrior two would feel like in regular yoga classes if we had the strength to hold us up this low. Good, so one more inhale. Exhale, easy grip, squeezing our thighs together to return back and slip down to. So opening the chest, right hand slides up, left hand slides down. You can always stay here, that's fine. Your hips and hamstrings want more, maybe start to take that side splits. Inhale, exhale, back, upright, grip on each side, turn forward. You've always got that option to lean forward or slide the hands up, take the split. And sometimes it's like the first breath or two is just kind of reminding the hamstring, you can be long, it's okay. This is honestly one of the huge benefits of aerial yoga is that your joints are so supported. So usually you can go quite a bit deeper than if you're on the floor. Like the joints are like, okay, I know I'm safe, I'm good, I'm here. One more good inhale. Exhale. Weight back. And just to help practice that swinging switch again, if you want to, go ahead and just take one more go at it. Kind of build that muscle memory just by doing it over and over. Good. When you're out, go ahead and drop the leg free. Okay, last inversion we're learning today. This one's straddle back. Again, like I said, all the inversions we've been working with today are like the basic form of it. Eventually we build up to more and more stuff. So this one's super, super similar to the first one we took where the fabric is just right behind the hip area. This one I think of like being across the sacrum. So think of like right across that crack area. So my hands are inside just to keep that palm pushing the fabric to stay there. If it's too low sitting bones, you're not going to be able to stay inside, but it's just across the sacrum. So active to keep it there. 1 foot steps back. And then I bend the knees. This gives me a chance to put my weight into the fabric to keep it locked in place there. So then keep your core engaged. It's like I'm curled in really tight until I walk back up under the plumb line. Once I'm under plumb line, all at once, hands go up, knees go wide. Wide, make sure you don't fall out. Feet can wrap. And feel free to relax down. Good. Yeah. So again, that chance for the spine to just drop down. This one does have that deeper massage. So if you prefer the first one we did instead, come inside and just take that seated version. That's the one where just like we talked about with the thigh, it can spread out the surface for you. So the scroll step. Oops, sorry. recovery, just like that. So this is that was really our last pose of the day before Shavasana. So feel free to take as long as you want, just recovery pose, just relaxing. And sooner or later, we'll end up in our Shavasana pose when you're ready. So if you're already inside, feel free to head back when you're ready. Just lift the fabric up past your head, lay back, feet in, straighten out. If you're resting back for a little while, that's great. Remember, every step we talked about to get inside, we have to find the front end, wave it left and right so nothing's doubled over. Good. Turn around, hook the thumbs, about 5 or 6 grips. Go ahead and head on in. Good. So I love Shavasana. Super important. This is the chance our body has to reintegrate all the benefits of our practice. All that you have to do is just be here, breathe, relax, and you'll get all those benefits for today. So that aspect of trust, so many acupressure points of our body, gently massage, think back. Super soothing to our nervous system. So just be held. Feel that sense of trust. Trusting weight into something that's not us. Here we'll take the next couple of minutes to start wrapping up. So I usually like to start off with a few simple spinal movements. I'll stretch my arms all the way to the back. Then I'll let my shoulders go left and right a couple of times. Starting to stretch in the shoulders, stretch in the side ribs. If you'd like to try a fetal position, The way we go into that is keep the body long, roll over onto one side so one hip is stacked on top of the other hip. From that long position, you can then curl in like a tight little ball. Sometimes it's nice to arch all the way back. So it's like letting your spine go back and forth like cat-cow, curling in, arching back. You're doing those movements, I'll usually take 2 or 3 on each side. Then I'll switch sides so my spine can be brought into good balance. Some of us might be about ready to come up to a seated place. So if you feel ready sooner or later, start to take your feet down the front. To rise up to a seated place. Hands joining together in front of the heart when we're there. Another beautiful chance to connect with that simple intention for today, that idea of trust. And just think of what your body has learned about trust. Putting our whole weight into something that's not us, and how perhaps it gets more comfortable just by doing it. And maybe even by practicing trust here, it helps us in being able to trust friends and family outside of class also. So with this idea of trust to lead us on today, let's wrap up the time we shared together with the sound of oh, deep inhale. May we be filled with light, happiness, and peace. Namaste.